also share the link with you guys also and with the larger community. एक minute. Copy. Yes. कर ले पकड़ ले. Okay, I think we are live. Cool. Give me a minute. आज हमने काफी थोड़ा सा चेंज किया है चीजें इधर उधर की हैं तो I hope that this is something which works for you guys and for people at large. Uh, okay, cool. So first of all, thanks a lot, guys, for and a very, very, very happy New Year to all of you. I think each one of you have had a very long weekend. थोड़ा सा family के साथ भी time बिताया, a little bit time away from work as well. And hopefully you people are back refreshed. 2024 is going to be awesome. Already there are a few signs and we're going to talk about it on what all is happening in the startup ecosystem. But Kulmani sir, हाँ, कैसा गया आपका 2024? How has it started for you?
Same old working away, nothing. So I didn't take any break as such. So I think birthdays and New Year both are overrated, in my personal opinion.
Yeah.
I think so. I sort of not go out of the way to celebrate. I'm like just regular weekend. That's it.
Cool. So I think, the Builders Club has a lot of plans for this year, and slowly we'll start unveiling them. I think this is going to be our fourth year running, and there are some very interesting, I would say, evolving steps that we are taking in the evolution of the club. Year four is usually people say ki if a company has to sustain, then it has to survive 3 years. I think we have gone past that stage now, and a lot of other stuff is happening. This live is going to happen every week. This is the seventh edition, and in this, the whole agenda of the TBC live is basically to discuss startup related news, whatever has happened in the past week, with the investors and founders in the ecosystem, and get their perspectives, get their views, get them to brainstorm amongst each other. We have some awesome people already in our Zoom call. Saurabh sir is here, Kulmani sir is here, Shadab is here, Ankur is here, Amitoj is here, Akash is here as well, the regular crowd, and a few new folks. Without further ado, I'll just kick it off so that we don't eat into others' time. Let me just share my screen, and we have basically changed a little bit, a few things here and there. तो उसको भी हम कवर कर लेंगे. Let me just okay, cool. So earlier we used to do about the club and all before. I think उसको हमने पूरा ही हटा दिया. I think we are gonna start from the startup news, and we are going to towards the end we are going to cover the weekly book recommendation and then the giveaway. uh, Akash has also joined in. For all the people who don't know, just a small primer before we kick it off. In case you people are not a part of the Builders Club, nas.io/tbc or www.thebuildersclub.me, please go join. We are enablers in your startup journey. We are one of the largest startup founder communities globally. We do a lot of events, we do a lot of content. We have started doing weekly lives now as well. So, in case you people are missing out on startup news or what is happening in the startup ecosystem, every Thursday, 8:30 p.m., you should be here. Um, and with that, yes. So, we'll just kick it off from here. So सबसे पहले तो यार ये पहला लाइव है 2024 का. So unless and until we don't talk about what all has happened in 2023, वहां से हम कहानी चालू कर रहे हैं. So basically we start off, we're we are kicking off the session with the funding news. We usually cover weekly funding updates, but because this is the first week of the year, we are gonna look at what all has happened in 2023. $11.3 billion of funding was raised in 2023 with a total of 984 deals, out of which 147 were undisclosed. Around 86 new funds were launched and 145 mergers and acquisitions happened. Um, there were a lot of layoffs which happened, and I think this number is a little bit outdated. We covered this in the past sessions as well. This number is way beyond 35,000, and there have been 12 odd ESOP buybacks. Interesting bit is this 11.3 billion is actually a downward curve which we have seen in terms of the overall funding that India has been getting. 2021 was when we actually peaked, which was just after the COVID season. And again, in 2020, everybody knows what the condition was of the ecosystem, and everybody, people were putting out warning signs even then. My prediction is 2024 is going to be very similar to what 2021 was post 2020, and I would love to take all of you guys feedback as well. I think Ankur and Saurabh and all are very much clued into the ecosystem, and they might be able to chime in on this. I would also, before we get into that, want to get into the month on month funding again. I think December and October, towards the end of the year, we kind of peaked. आई थिंक जो Q3 और Q4 वाला जो बिट होता है उसमें यूजुअली ज्यादा स्पीड पकड़ते हैं, ऐसा ये साइक्लिक है या नहीं, इसके ऊपर भी आई वुड लव टू गेट अ लिटिल बिट ऑफ फीडबैक फ्रॉम बोथ ऑफ यू गाइस बिफोर आई जंप इनटू द अदर न्यूज़. Any thoughts on this, Saurabh, Ankur, or anybody of you on this trend that we are seeing here?
I must say, the bro, you are right. The things will be still remaining same. There will be two reasons. First, the wars, and second, the little bit the election in the US. So these two factors are affecting the ecosystem because most of the funding are coming from the US. So there will be some change. But what I believe after the Indian election, the things will be a little bit changed because the Indian government will leverage the policy because they also want to show that we are doing something for the in our country. So I believe from the say July, the things will be better and the funding winter I believe will be end by maximum 15 hours.
हम्म. क्या लगता है सर?
For me, again, let's say obviously 24 would be better compared to 11.3 billion in funds. Now, fundamentally, there's been a bit of shift with the large funds not investing, slash certain funds not investing in India because of the current situation. So
Hmm.
I would say, in my opinion, probably it'll land up somewhere close to about 22 or slightly lower than 22 funding. Because like you don't really have so much funds who are investing in the Indian country. So the companies are rebasing themselves in Singapore or
Yeah.
US, which will potentially eat away the funding, though it's like Indian companies can fund it, but it won't be counted as Indian funding. So that is there. From my side, I think this quarter would be slightly still tough, but from Q2 onwards, the funding will actually start in a much better fashion. So Q2, Q3, Q4 are going to be good quarters.
Hmm. Hmm. Very interesting. Okay. I think Akash, you also wanted to chime in, or we can move on.
Yeah, to be honest, yeah, not much idea on the like
Yeah,
on
there are
the
two
funding thing. Yeah.
Akashes here this time around. Akash Agarwal and Akash. So either of you, but that's fine. Um,
Yeah, I think we can move on.
Yeah, so basically, moving on to the total number of, the top 10 growth stage or late stage funding which happened last year. Of course, the majority of the pie went to PhonePe, and then there was Lenskart, Flipkart, DMI, Ola Electric, and then Udan, Byju's, Zepto, Perfume, and Grey Orange. The early stage one, I think insurance dekho kind of spiked in 2023. A lot, around $150 million of funding basically went to this. Followed by Agilitas Sports, Charge Plus Zone, Blue Smart, Servam AI, NetWaves, KPIA, Spotcraft, Beacon Stack, and JSW platforms. So primarily fintech, EV, and a little bit in the D2C space is what I am looking at. At least that's the sense that I'm getting here. Very interestingly, these are just the top 10 that I'm looking at. If you really look at the top 5 segment wise number of deals which are happening, and I think I'll move this one here. Yeah. So I think the highest number of funding has happened in the e-commerce section, then fintech, then SaaS, then health tech, and then EV. But I think the EV graph is just picking up and it is going to kind of peak in 2020, 2024. I'll not say peak, but of course it's going to go at a higher this. And this is something which we have seen because I think the number of funding in the EV related startups started picking up in the later part of the year. And we are going to see a similar trend happening across 2024, at least in the first phase. Coming to cities, Bangalore, as usual, rules the roost with 433 deals happening in the city and 217 in Delhi NCR. Number three was Mumbai, and then there were a lot of small ones. So there was Chennai with 39, Pune with 35, Hyderabad with 30. Even places like Kolkata, Kochi, and Ahmedabad managed to get good enough deals. What is your take on the segment-wise bit? Kulmani, Saurabh, anybody of you have because I think e-commerce is this e-commerce technically D2C that we are reading here as e-commerce?
Can you go back to that slide, which because I was doing some analysis of my own
Yeah,
for the quarterly numbers, which will
yeah.
come out next. But I want to look at this slide because this is
This is just top 10.
right. Okay, doctor.
Yeah, so of course, while 80% of the funding might have come here, but these are just this that is the
Right, right.
number of deals that has happened. This is the volume of deals, as in the quantum of money which has been put in.
Right. So I think EV is definitely something you know where a lot of people are going to put in money going forward also. Not just EV in terms of mobility, but the whole ecosystem around EV. Let's say I saw publicly listed chemical players now thinking about if we can manufacture cathode and anode, which go into the battery, things like that. So a lot of money I think will go, and this is larger again, efficiency, sustainability, and all those things. Um, I don't know how to compare this and what does it mean for going ahead. Uh, Probably we will need to wait and watch because currently I think what I'm observing is a lot of people are going to jump into EV, but it's going to
Yeah,
take maybe 2 3 years when we see, like who has been swimming naked
yeah,
and the tide goes out.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Timing is definitely correct.
Right now, it's the peak, na, it's the boom period. Very similar to what EdTech was in 2020. I think a lot of regulatory constraints and all of these things, once the government also starts tightening the noose, a lot of these startups, I think it's going to be an acquisition game, yeah, in the EV space, the way I look at it.
Not only private players, but public entities, like I said, chemical players, other players who are adjacent will also get into it. So I think last
Yeah,
week only I observed those chemical public listed companies now getting into EV. So that's
yeah,
also
yeah, yeah, yeah. Cool. Moving on. This is a very interesting, and Ink 42 has been a go-to for us in terms of articles. So thanks Ink 42 for allowing us to capture these very interesting articles which you put out. So they basically put out startup and tech predictions for 2024. What's going to happen, right? So a few of the predictions which they made is number one, consumer services get ready to pay more for deliveries and mobility. So what they are saying is in places like Q-commerce, logistics, and all, they are going to add more layers of packaging cost and convenience fees and all of these things and beef up their margins, because this is where they are also struggling right now, especially in the Q-commerce space, wherein the margins are razor thin. VC ecosystem and consolidation is gonna happen. Consolidation, write-offs, partner rejects. Fintech super app platforms will face the Geo financial services test, because Geo is coming after everything in fintech, and we'll probably go a little bit deeper into that. Corporate governance, serious consequences for founders caught in legal probes. This has, I mean, I think we have discussed this in our previous sessions as well. That now I think corporate governance, the moment there is a tipping point where you have probably crossed to Series A, your focus on compliances, or at least your investors' focus on compliances, kind of becomes razor sharp, and that's basically going to become a best practice from a VC perspective. Fate of IPOs, geopolitical tensions will complicate funds inflow and more IPOs, but there will be more IPOs than 2023. Gen AI revolution is going to happen. That's a no-brainer. E-commerce, Amazon, Flipkart duopoly is going to weaken. I have an interesting data point around this in today's event, so stick around if you are listening in. Policy headwinds, so new challenges for edtech, e-commerce, fintech, and big tech. And gaming outlook, casual and mid-core gaming to step up as RMG fades into the background. So real money games is basically going a little bit downstream, and now more money is going to come from casual and mid-core gaming, which is paid or freemium kind of games. Climate tech will basically, green hydrogen, circular economy will take climate tech beyond EVs. So again, recycling of tech and green hydrogen are the different kind of technologies, or different kinds of iterations in the climate tech space, which are going to take the climate tech industry beyond EVs. EdTech, regional languages will be the and affordability will be the calling cards this time around. And for social media, they are predicting distressed sales, shutdowns, and a lot of reliance on Gen AI, because a lot of agencies are going to shut down, because now people just use AI instead of hiring a content writer. Um, so this is a basic trend. I'll also probably pull up a. I mean, I would love to take inputs from you guys on either one of these, because I think there is a lot of stuff in these 12 buckets which have been put in. What is your take on anyone wants to take a dig on any one of these predictions, or anyone which you think is counterintuitive, or you have a different take apart from this?
I am just want to say two things there. Yeah, you are right about this thing. But two sector which will be what I believe will be getting boom in this future. First is the predictive AI, or you can say the future of the AI, and which related to the defense as well as in the our daily course of the action. Second vertical, which I find is very booming, is the drone with the
That's
future
a good one.
adding AI, because the you everyone aware that in the last year government of India has opened the export of drone to the global market. So now most of the companies are getting entry in this the big market, and what I believe, the drone will be the superpower, or you can say the much booster sector for the our country to get the future funding. And what I believe, by 2025 hand, 50% funding will be going to the drone market only.
That's an interesting point. That's an interesting point. Saurabh sir, Akash, any take on this?
Yeah,
From my sorry, go ahead, Ashkash.
Yeah, Saurabh.
okay.
Either of you can go, please.
Okay, I'll go first then. Yeah, so I think all these 12 points, I do agree actually. So I don't have any counterpoints for these.
Hmm. Hmm. So, Akash, you wanted to double click on any one of these?
Yeah, yeah. Also, I think that corporate governance part, like founders have to take it seriously. What predominantly even I have worked on with couple of founders is everything has been taken for granted. कि चल जाता है attitude. I think this is something that has to be changed, and वो over a period of time, uh, the legal process are going to get more complicated. So that is something I really like that for 2024 that should be one of the key areas founders should focus on as well.
Got it. Got it. I have a little bit of a write-up also around the e-commerce trends, which were their predictions. So basically, Walmart has again infused $600 million in Flipkart. Uh, but that's this thing for another day. So according to them, so these were the ones which were for this thing. One is of course, Mishu is rising much faster than anticipated, and that might actually weaken the duopoly of Amazon and Flipkart. This is one of our top news stories tonight as well. Second is the national e-commerce policy will disrupt the best laid plan. So the whole the the whole confederation of all India traders had been battling it out against the bigger people, and probably the government. There might be a few regulatory changes which might come in, which might spoil the broth for Amazon and Flipkart. ONDC penetration is going to grow for sure. Reliance and Tata's acquisition appetite is going to grow as the e-commerce industry is growing. I think a lot of brands are going to be, you will see a lot of consolidation happening, a lot of platforms being acquired by different players. Omni-channel plays will dictate D2C brand success. This is a no-brainer. I think we have seen all D2C brands which evolved from online basically go towards offline, and I think this is going to be a state of them. D2C house of brands and roll-ups will begin to fold. Uh, when Mensa brands and Goat brands and all of these brands were raising, um, I have never seen these kind of companies really work out. Again, this is a prediction, but I am kind of for this because I believe if you have too many things happening under one leadership, it's very difficult to control those kind of ships. I'm very surprised. I think the Thrasio use case was basically used to put in or to fund the different Indian copycats of a similar business model. But I might be wrong, and people who are more clued into the e-commerce ecosystem, in case you are listening, and please put it down in your comment section what you people think about this. And anybody of you, because this is one of those bones of contention which I'm assuming all of you guys will also have. So I just want to take a little bit of feedback from you on that front. Vertical e-commerce is in for consolidation. So category specific e-commerce marketplaces or vertical marketplaces like Nika and Cartrade and all, they are also in for consolidation. A lot of smaller brands have also been coming in. So all the bigger brands are basically going to now start acquiring the smaller ones. And then there's the B2B marketplace game, which now the Indian companies are slowly starting to explore beyond India as well, primarily in the Southeast Asian market or in the Middle East, in Russia and the US. Any of these pointers that you guys will have something to give a feedback on? सौरभ सर क्या लगता है आपको? What do you think about this bit? The House of Brands bit.
So House of Brands, I think we also invested in a couple of them.
Mm,
But seeing the last 1 year, I think it's a difficult space to grow, at least for the brands where we have invested in. Once you look at it, Thrasio has anyway, let's say, done down rounds. Mensa, I think, is facing certain issues around it. So that role of vehicles, I think, is going down on the D2C side. But what we are seeing is emergence of brands which are coming on the B2B side. And those are solid models because they actually work on consolidation of your fixed cost. And these brands generally tend to be profitable. So I think on the B2B side, this particular roll up will start happening pretty soon.
yeah, yeah. So, what was I mean, if you don't mind me asking, what was the core philosophy? I mean, which made you invest in these kind of companies? Does the business model make sense to you? What these people are doing? I mean,
So
what were the initial hypotheses on the basis of which you people invested, and now you're seeing that things might not seem as as you had anticipated.
it's a pretty standard model what we have seen, we have been using for last about 11 years ourselves.
Yeah,
And but we were doing it on the B2B side because
got
there
it.
once you consolidate couple of companies into one, that's the point. You do have efficiency of scale. Secondly, you do have cross sell opportunities to the same set of clients. Thirdly, your common costs like HR, finance, and those kind of costs tends to come down. So
Uh,
inherently, once you merge five such companies together, you will be able to increase the sales and decrease the cost. So that happens pretty beautifully on the B2B side. So that's the reason we wanted to test our hypothesis on D2C side. But somehow those kind of scales with multiple brands doesn't happen
doesn't work.
because you're not getting the marketing efficiencies in terms of building multiple brands out there. And somehow the vehicles where we got into, they weren't able to leverage the efficiency on the fixed cost side.
Mm, got it. Got it. As usual, thanks a lot, Saurabh sir, for that very concise but very precise explanation. I'll quickly move on to the next story. So this is again kind of something which we had spoken in the last session as well. So basically, only 64 funds were launched during this year of funding window with $5.6 billion. So in 2022, we basically saw the launch of 126 funds with over $18 billion. In 2023, investors launched 31 early stage funds with a corpus of 1.8 billion, while the growth and late stage funds saw 16 launches amounting to $2.3 billion. Again, the numbers have declined. We did discuss this, right, Saurabh sir, in one of our previous sessions, if I remember. I can't hear you. I think is there a mic issue or is it me?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, we discussed about it, right?
Yeah. So we'll not touch upon this because I think we have any which ways covered this bit. I'll move on to the next one, and this is around AI. Um, Reliance Jio is working with IIT Bombay to launch Bharat GPT. So this is basically they are looking into, and from what I understand, they're basically looking at vernacular quite a bit. The talks are still at a very preliminary stage. But Jio is also comprehensively thinking of launching an OS for televisions. This is a very interesting bit because I think television right now is slowly all televisions are going smart, and all smart TVs technically are running on Android. There is a lacuna out there, there is a need gap out there where you can probably work on a kind of a noise. I still don't understand. I mean, I think Akash is basically trying to dominate the the bigger screen space which they have, because I think with Kai OS and all, they any which ways have the tier 3 and tier 4 market in mind. And in tier 3 and tier 4, slowly TV penetration, TV is still one of those medium of vehicles of communication out there in the villages and the this thing, and slowly smart TVs are penetrating. I think if they are able to create their own OS, probably their cost might be minimized in some form, or they might actually come up with more cost effective and a better UI UX. That's my take. Is Does anybody else have any take on this bit on Bharat GPT and the OS of television? Shadab bhai, Ankur, or Akash is probably dropped off. Yeah.
I will tell two things about the TV OSP. The demand of the localization is increased. As you see, the government is pushing for the data privacy, and you see the TV can also track your users access and everything there. Especially talking about the smart TV. There's a
Yeah.
reason is government pushing the IT's products something which will be had to build the localization in two ways. First, the content. Second, the OS. And without a robust OS, because what happened, the most of the OS is although you're using the Google OS, but it is customizable, and the base is built by the Chinese vendors or the OEMs.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's the reason what the Indian OS is for the TV is missing. Although there are already one OS for the smartphone or the tablet by the name Bhar
Mm,
OS, still the of the India TV specifically built in the India is missing. So I believe
yeah.
this the Geo move is very crucial for the growth of the Indian smartphone smart TV market, and also for the Geo also, because what we Geo can do, Geo can build an integrated ecosystem for the from the car to phone to TV also. By the way, let me give you information also. Geo also having an OS for the three wheeler or the smart car by the name
Yeah. Yeah. Autos. Yeah. Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
so the seamless integration will be what I believe in the pipeline of the Geo products, so that they can get all the data and provide the best, the better possibility or the things there. Yeah, the name of the OS for the two-wheeler or the automobile is Avanti OS.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. But thanks a lot for this. I still don't understand the business implication, very frankly. Is it more of a capturing of the value chain of the supply chain is what is happening, or is it more of a money game? What is your take, Akash, Shadab, anybody of you?
If I can go.
Ah,
Thanks.
bolo, please.
Yeah. So what I feel with this thing, right? See, this seems like very similar to what actually Chrome did. This seems like very similar to Chrome. So what they are trying to do, right? They are trying. If you have your own like operating system, right? First thing is that the Bharat GPT what you are building, you need the data for that. So you can
Yeah.
start with the basic data, but eventually you want to find a way where you can get that data to actually train and fine tune the model. So if they can have their if they can put like these things into like into TVs and autos and all those things, right, there would be a good source of data with which they can actually fine tune it. So I feel this is more like to actually to get the data.
Ah, that's a very interesting take. That's a good one. That's a good one, Akash. Shadab, you have anything to add on to this? Okay.
Not much has been said about
नहीं
it.
नहीं that's a very good one यार आकाश ये मेरे ख्याल से डेटा का गेम ही है. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Um, and guys, in case all of you guys are watching and whoever is watching, and please like the video, and if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do. We are planning a lot of, so these lives are gonna happen weekly. Plus, there are a lot of programming which will start releasing from next week. So keep an eye out and please support us in our endeavor. Moving on to the next one. Again, this one is an AI news. Uttar Pradesh plans to build India's first AI city in Lucknow. Right, so UP Electronics Corporation has released an EOI seeking proposals for the design, development, and operation of an AI city in Lucknow. The EOI invites real estate developers to participate in building and operating the AI city to nurture the workforce of the future. And Lucknow is already a host to centers of excellence specializing in fields such as AI and medtech, showcasing extensive integration of AI technologies. What is your take on this? Anybody wants to go and talk about UP? Ankur sir?
Little bit about the vision of the Modi government as well as the Yogi. See, there is two things. First, we have to understand about our country: landlocked state and the state which is near to the sea. Not talking about the UP, MP, the Himachal Pradesh, or talking about the Punjab or Haryana. These states are landlocked state. Now, till now, the GDP has been driven by those states which are just connected to the sea. Modi government has a vision to transform this GDP from this non-landlocked state to landlocked state. That's the reason Modi government is coming with some new ideas and visions and initiative. One of the initiative is building some each state of one city is state of that city. Like talking about in the UP, they are focusing on the Lucknow build with the AI. Now, why AI? Because most of the government things are now the you can say the paper driven. Using the AI, they can reduce the cost of the operation. Also, given the better services. One thing. Second, AI also generated lots of employment in these countries. What happened in the west part of the West UP? Most of the people from the West UP or the surrounding area, some here also are going to the other cities like the Mumbai, Jaipur, Ahmedabad, or Delhi. This will help
Hmm.
to reduce the all the things also, practices also. So that's the reason what I believe is a very good initiative, and it is the future of everything.
Yeah, but I think it's more of a PR move, now. What do you mean by an AI city? So, is it that you are going to give people who are building an AI a space, or you are actually going to make the whole city smart? Because I think the smart city plan is also something which has been in works for a very long time. This is another one of those, the way I look at it.
It it might be PR, registered. Later you can see it will generate not only employment, it also make an very mega city. I'm giving an example of two things here. Not talking about everyone, talking about the Singapore. Singapore emerge as a very big cities there, but there is also potential of this thing in the India also. Talking about the AI having two verticals. First, the job employment. Second is the, as I mentioned earlier, reducing the cost of the running the government also. That's the reason I'm talking about if Lucknow can develop as an AI city, it will help out a lot in everywhere. Because talking about the
Acha.
PM, voting share of the any Indian PM is coming from the UP
Hmm.
and
Got it.
Gujarat and the Rajasthan and state. Now, if positioning Lucknow as an super capital, so it will create in the tech as well as non-tech people also for the tourism. Now, you know the three program cities: Mathura, Varanasi, and the third Allahabad.
Hmm.
In
Yeah, so
between the AI city.
I think it's more about
Everything.
if they are basically getting real estate people. I think what they are also trying to do is they're trying to hopefully optimize or use AI in the systems, as in AI gets embedded within the systems to run the city. So that might actually help in optimization and reduction of cost, expenses, reduction in manpower, and probably make the city a little bit more automated and a little bit more predictive in that this thing. I think I haven't given it a complete read, but I think this is the direction which these people are also looking at. Let's see. We'll keep an eye out on this. Thanks a lot, Ankur, for this for those inputs. Moving on to the next one. I think Ola Electric IPO is going to be launched. And Ola Electric's IPO comprises of a fresh issue of 5,500 crore and an offer for sale, which is an OFS component of 9.51 CR shares. This is again a no-brainer, which is going to complete. I think Ola is going the Reliance way. It's these shares actually will do wonders. So in case anybody is going to get their hands onto this, please, I think you people are one of the lucky ones. कोई जुगाड़ लगता है तो हमें भी बताना, हम भी कुछ लगाने की कोशिश करेंगे. कोई anybody has a counter intuitive take to this? Akash, you usually have a counter intuitive take on IPOs. You want to take a dig at this?
It is offer for sale, right? Again, I mean, I feel the issue with Ola. I mean, here is that I still feel. I think Hero Honda's partnership has better mode
Much
of the
better this thing,
distribution.
nahi?
Yeah, they
Yeah,
have much better mode for distribution. I think that is the key here. In India, the key is distribution and maintenance.
मुझे एक बात बताओ, ये जो इतना इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर की बात हो रही है, इफ देयर आर एग्जिस्टिंग इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, द पेट्रोल पंप्स, if they start having it, wouldn't that kind of kill the whole whatever network of electric chargers that these people are trying to build up? Because that is technically just an addendum to their existing infrastructure. These people have to start from scratch.
Exactly. And it requires basically lot and lot of money. See, infrastructure business is not easy.
Yeah.
And just one like bad cycle and you are just gone, right? I mean, we have seen that with Future Weather as well, right? They were doing good for like years and years, but one bad cycle and they are
Yeah, yeah,
down and
yeah.
gone, right? So
नहीं, बट फिर भी
seems
मेरे को
like
भावेश के
this
ऊपर
tough
पूरा
business.
भरोसा है. कुछ तो करेगा. ठीक है. So let's see. All the very best to Bhavish for this. Moving on to the next one. So this is the one which I was talking about. Misho is set to be growing faster than the e-commerce market itself, adding more MAUs than peers in 2022. So they are the ones who are set to be kind of weakening the Flipkart Amazon duopoly, and this is kind of a dark a dark horse which has kind of come down. So which basically e-commerce major Misho is targeting at value shoppers from tier 2 plus cities, added nearly 100 million MAU and processed $1 billion in 2022 according to Jefferies. And what they are saying is Misho is slowly emerging as a third alternative to the Flipkart Amazon duopoly. And this is primarily, there was one more data point which I remember, which we basically got to see, I think, an year back, was that the majority of Amazon sales are coming from only 10 to 15 million users, and rest is peanuts in terms of ARPU. And I think this is the need gap which Misho has exploited by going deep into the market, into the mid to low income households in tier 2 plus market, where they have seen a GMV growth of 9x to $4.5 billion on the platform in the last 2 years. What is your take on this? I would love to hear, Saurabh sir's take on this as well, because this is a very interesting data. And this is kind of something which just came out of the blue, very frankly. What is your take on this, Saurabh sir?
In last couple of years, I think personally also we have seen a lot of, let's say, emergence of affiliate or slash, let's say, this social commerce. Now, on the social commerce side, because I think Misha was there when the tide started turning, or probably Misha was the market creator themselves, right?
Yeah.
So this is a segment which is anyway required in the tier two, tier three, tier four cities where still, let's say, recommendations from peers is something which is still seen as a powerful tool to sell. So I think Misho has actually captured the market pretty beautifully out there. Now, given that I really don't know Amazon numbers, but I think I still feel a lot more positive about targeting, let's say, 10 to 15 million high-end users and building out your business versus going into masses with 100 million, 200 million users, because again, your cost of operations, service cost, and managing that becomes heavy.
Hmm.
So in case Amazon is able to capture 10 to 15 million high consumption users, then I think they don't really need to go down to the masses there.
Hmm. No, so the interesting bit here, there are two data points, and I'll quickly move on. Is one is the average order value of Flipkart and Amazon is usually 1,000 rupees, well over 1,000 rupees, and Misho is around 350 rupees. Right, so they're primarily playing the volume game, and currently the platform holds a 7% share in Indian market, Wha- and is number three. Number two is number one is Flipkart, and number two is Amazon, 38% and 30%. But the fact that the market in which Misho is operating, I don't think Amazon and Flipkart have been able to crack that yet, right? Because Flipkart has gone a lot into the tech, in trying to increase the revenue from the tech, from smartphones and the tech bit, and similar strategies have been used by Amazon as well. These people are, I mean, very difficult for Amazon and Flipkart to actually eat into Misho's share, but Misho is actually in a position where it can eat into Amazon and Flipkart share, the way I look at it. What is your take?
So something like these are two different segments of market, right? So in case Amazon doesn't want to go there, they don't want to go there, right? It's something like a Fortis can't do a 500 rupees or 1,000 rupees means surgery, right? So once you look at Mishoka small size market going to tier 3, tier 4 segment, for example, and when I say small size, it's like the AOV is small. Now, Amazon really don't need to play that game because they haven't captured even the tier one game so well still, right? So there is a lot of headroom for growth there. So you don't really go into the probably let's say low ticket market so soon.
Mhm. Inka,
And for Misho again, because Misho is actually fighting in a different segment. So they eating away Amazon share is again something which may not happen so fast.
hmm. So the interesting bit is Misho has a zero commission platform. Unlike Amazon, which is the biggest problem is commissions. They basically make money from fulfillment charges. Right? So Misho clocked 670 million in revenues, out of which 15% was take rate, the bulk of which was fulfillment charges. Again, very interesting. I think we need to do a little bit more deep dive into this. But very
Points,
interesting times indeed. Yeah, Shadab.
a couple of points. One, Saurabh sir just mentioned, that Amazon shares, the share of Misho has grown, but it doesn't mean that actual in real term value, Amazon share has come down. There's a percentage it might have, but in value terms, it will not have because they don't want to operate in that market. That is one part. Second part is that the rise of Misho is one end. There is another element of other alternatives available, the rise of other D2C operators directly dealing with customers. That share is also growing. And as the trust deficit eases between the customer and these new D2C players coming in, I think that entirely as a one category, if I club all the D2C companies together, that will also significantly grow in terms of a percentage. So there will be a close fourth to Misho put together.
Hmm. Hmm. Got it. Got it.
And one more point, I mean, eventually this year also is going to be transformative for ONDC. Whether ONDC actually gives run for money to Amazon and Flipkart is yet to be seen, but the promise it holds is significant.
Got it. Really makes sense. Makes sense. Let's see how this market evolves. All eyes on Misho now. Moving on. Um, so again, I think this we covered. So Walmart is again injecting 600 million into Flipkart during a $1 billion funding round. The fresh infusion will likely value Flipkart at 5 to 10% premium to its last valuation. Why is this funding happening? Saurabh sir, why are people putting money in Flipkart again suddenly? Or is this like a regular thing?
This one actually I need to look at the financials. I haven't looked at financials of Flipkart yet.
Yeah, because besides Walmart, there are a lot of new investors also which are joining in. So I just wanted to get at this thing, but okay, that's fine. Moving on, I think now we'll end this as usual, like we do in every session. We have Baiju's news, right? So we have three news from Baiju's. Slowly, the sinking ship. How it's what all is happening. Number one, Code.org has sued Baiju's subsidiary Whitehead Junior in an overpending license fees. Right. So Code.org, which is a not-profit organization, has filed a lawsuit over pending fees payment. The lawsuit alleges that Whitehead Jr. violated a licensing contract by not paying the required fees while still using Code.org's platform. The moment this happened, Roshan Thomas, basically, who was the group general counsel, he basically quit. His resignation came just a week after this lawsuit was filed. On top of this, Byju's is now looking for a $300 million in infusion from investors in exchange for larger shareholding. यहाँ पे यार, of course, there's a lot of, I think everything boils down to money. I think the taps have kind of closed for Byju's, because of which whatever debt that they have had currently at this stage, they are not being able to meet that. And very interestingly, I was reading an article around Gaurav Munjal and how he is saying that he is happy that he said no to a $500 million debt round, which was supposed to happen. And I think, I don't know whether, um, whatever is happening in Byju's currently, do you think this is again an open question for everyone, even the ones who are listening, and if you want to leave it out in the comments below. Um, do you think right now any investor would want to go to Byju's? Currently, they're seeking this money. Why would any investor want to? Again, given the fact that now everything is out in the open, how much money are they making? What are the revenue channels which are actually working for them? Um, does it make sense for any investor to actually go in to increase their shareholding in a company like this, in the hopes that this will eventually get acquired and then they'll make returns? Intent is anybody who's putting in. Let's assume that an investor puts in money. What is the likely outcome of him recovering his money? What are the different outcomes possible? Saurabh, sir?
So in this case, actually, what happened, it's not about the money infusion alone, right? The main thing is what are the kind of terms which come along with that money infusion? Because currently, if someone puts in $300 million into the company, right, and they become the senior to anyone else in the company, technically their $300 million is roughly secured, right? Because the company, whatever way you value, 22 billion or let's say a billion, 300 million in case it's a senior equity, it's like again recoverable. And given the fact that in case existing investors aren't putting that money into the company, so generally just to revive the company, existing investors might agree to certain terms. So yeah, it would be a structured, slightly more on the distress kind of a deal. But
Mhm.
yeah, there could be economic sense to put more money into budgets.
Oh, interesting. Interesting. गुड। आई थिंक इसके ऊपर भी थोड़ा सा आपसे और डिटेल में हम बात करेंगे बाद में। वी कैन प्रॉब्ली कैप्चर दिस सेपरेटली because we are running out of time. And I think that is all for today's startup news. We are moving to the next section, which will be the last section, which is the book of the week. You see all these books. I'll actually pick one, which is the news book of the week. I forgot to take this one out. I'm sorry. Oh, okay. I'll pick it up. Okay, so the book of the week is Start with Why by Simon Sinek. How many of you have read this book? I'm sure this book has been recommended to all of you guys multiple number of times, but I don't know whether you people have read it or not. If anybody has, please raise your hands, and it'll be great to know. Um, again, so let me just move this here. Yes. So, today's book of the week is Start with Why, right? So, Start with Why is a book by Simon Sinek that explores the idea that successful individuals and organizations are those that understand and communicate the why behind their actions, right? So, there are a few key takeaways from the book which I want to highlight. One is the golden circle, right? So, there are three concentric circles. The center of it is why, then how, and then what. A lot of people usually go the other way around, which is what, how, and why. But why, how, and what, if we go. So, according to Simon Sinek, he argues that most organizations start with what, which is what they do, and then move to how, which is how they do it. But the truly successful ones start with why, which is the purpose. And the importance of purpose is what the book emphasizes on. They basically talk about having a clear sense of purpose or a why. Sinek argues that individuals and organizations with strong sense of purpose are more likely to inspire others. Sinek also discusses the law of diffusion of innovation, which explains how ideas and products spread. According to this law, a small percentage of people are innovators and early adopters, and majority follow once they see the benefits. Understanding this concept can help leaders and organizations and creating a movement around their idea. So the whole idea is at the beginning of any stage, at the beginning of any product, the innovators and early adopters are a very small percentage. So you will not see a very massive growth in the initial stage, and hence always you see a hockey stick growth. That is only when there's another book called Crossing the Chasm, which I'm assuming a lot of you guys would have heard of as well, where we see the innovator, early adopter, late adopter curve there as well. Then this book also talks about leadership and trust, and the book explores the connection leadership, trust, and the ability to inspire action. Sinek suggests that leaders who start with a clear why and communicate it effectively are more likely to trust the trust and support of their teams and followers. And the last point, which they cover in this book, is the role of emotions. So, Sinek highlights that the role of emotions in decision making is very critical, and how, if you start with why, your emotional center of the brain gets reconciled. So, you react differently if your why is clear. You will not get agitated that quickly because you know why you are doing it and what's the end goal, right? So this is again one of the most recommended books for all people. Actually, this is not just for founders. Anybody who is into a little bit of little bit of self understanding, or into productivity, or getting a little bit of more clarity in their thought process, this book is for them. And we are basically doing a giveaway of this book as well, right? So there are two books, two Start With Why books, which basically goes out to all the audiences and all the people who are here. In case you people want to get this, you people should comment on the YouTube live video, subscribe, and tell us what your experience for today's event was. A YouTube comment or a LinkedIn/Twitter post tagging us, talking about today's events experience is all we are asking for. Two books are to be given out today. So please, if you haven't subscribed to the Builders Club, please subscribe and leave a comment, leave a like and a comment about what you liked about today's session. And are there any books that any of you guys who are here in the Zoom call, anybody of you would want to recommend? How many of you, first of all, read this book? Anybody of you? Any? ये तो आपने पढ़ा ही होगा सर, नहीं?
नहीं नहीं
अरे ये तो बिल्कुल पढ़ो सर. You should definitely first of all participate in the giveaway. I would want to give a book to you. Yes.
Yeah, fine.
Shad.
So it has been very long since I read a book now. So
Ah,
I'm more on
it's been a while.
Netflix. Yeah.
नहीं नहीं सही है सर. I will any which ways give this book out. Please subscribe. Please leave a comment in the YouTube video. That's all that we ask for, and this book is yours. With that, I think we will close today's session. Thanks a lot, guys, for joining in. We will see you guys again next Thursday with more startup news and more news about the club as well. There is something very interesting which is brewing. We are working with WeWork, but more on that. Probably if if you follow us on social media, if you follow us on YouTube, you will get to know about it by tomorrow. So stay tuned. If you haven't followed us, you can follow us on all social media handles, and you will be updated about what the community is doing. There's a lot of stuff. 2024 is going to be one of the biggest years for TBC, and hopefully we'll see you guys on the other side. With that,